A 1-2-1-2 back online for another day of this is designing. This is just a very kind of quick look, carrying on from the work that I was doing in the last live stream. I just kind of want to do little bits and pieces really, just to say this is how I'm designing, this is what I'm doing with the plants, and this is how I'm approaching it. So last time I was talking about how I'm using a drone to take footage of the garden in place, and now that the garden's been done, because there's lots of unknowns in this garden. It's not like this is the whole seating area, the banks, the where the footpaths are. Everything's an unknown, so it's actually kind of quite difficult to precisely to know where to put the plants. So now that the hard landscaping has been done, now's the time to be able to go in and say, this is the areas, this is how many plants we need, and start thinking about plant choices. So that's where I'm at. So last week I kind of left it in a, I'm going to calculate the areas, and what I actually ended up doing for a couple of happy hours was to I'll just take that off. Oh, and I've left the screen here, hold on, on my right hand side there. I've left that so you can see the block list, so you can see all the pallets and everything that I'm talking about. So last week what I did was to divide up the just go around and draw around each of the areas. It's a bit fiddly and it's a bit geeky and everything, but it's for these purposes it's kind of quite useful because one of the key things about using CAD is that you can work out areas and you can then say this is how many plants. So ground cover plants, as a rule of thumb, 3 to 5 plug plants per square metre, depending upon the site, depending upon the plant, what species it is, what the conditions are like, lots of different variables obviously. And this is so this is what I've done, is go around, and if you look here, oh, I wish I had a zoom in thing. You can't really see it. It's this bed up here. I'll just zoom in and put the drone photo on. That by the gate to the allotment, that bed, I've drawn a line around it, and if you look at the specific properties, it's 10 square meters, approximately 10 or 11 square meters. So 3 plants, that's even with my appalling maths, that's about 30 plants just for that little area, roughly, as a kind of ground cover plant, which is good, which is fine. And I've done all that for all these other areas as well. And actually, when you start to figure out how much these, like, plug plants are costing a couple of quid, that's 30 plants at £60 just for that area, and then you can work out that it becomes quite expensive. So various ways around this. We're on a deadline with this garden, so it's trickier, so I've got to be quite careful about the species that I'm buying, and if I can get hold of anything locally or somebody's got in their garden, or maybe I can mulch a little bit of it, put a temporary ground cover down for a moment, and then grow some ground cover plants on and plant them out next season. So there's various things that you can do, but it's one of the most expensive, just in terms of the sheer number of plants, is the ground cover plants are the kind of one of the most expensive things to do. But it's one of the best things that you can do to reduce the maintenance. So like in gardening terms, in forest gardening terms, you've got 3 different layers. You have the trees, the shrubs, and then the ground cover. Trees, shrubs, herbaceous perennials, and ground cover. And the ground cover, there's lots of overlap between the different layers. So if you've got a really dense shrub, then you won't need ground cover underneath it. But it's a good idea to get that ground cover established early before any of the other plants, so that you'll reduce the amount of weeding that's required. So next thing to do then is, what was I going to do? Yeah, so I need to kind of get a list. I've named all of these different areas as well. I possibly wouldn't do this for my own job, but maybe yeah. And then I can say storage bank. This is north at the bottom. This is going to be the wettest part. It's wet all over, to be honest. And then what I have got as well is banks. So this is all the grass which has been scraped off. These are the kind of earth mounds along here, and they're not particularly tall. They'll be a couple of feet tall, but that's enough that there's a difference in the drainage. So they're more free draining, so I can get plants on there that I wouldn't dream of putting down here, because this is going to be kind of boggy. And what I would say is is work with what you've got. You know, if you don't have, if you haven't had a digger in to move stuff around and change it, then if it's a damp boggy spot, then put plants in that like damp boggy spots. There, and then or kind of alter it if you can, if it's easy, you know. So these are limestone chippings from the south of the county, which I wouldn't have used, well, yeah, etc, etc. I would like to have used recycled material, recycled self-binding gravel if I could have got hold of it, but I couldn't find it in the time, etc. So they've used chippings, and they're limestone chippings, and there's a big pile left, so I might actually use some of these in a pile and create an alkaline, really not in character at all with the field, but will increase the diversity. So I've got that material on site, I might use that material. These are earth mounds. I'm going to put plants in there which prefer free draining soil. So yeah, this is the nice thing, is that you can use material, if you can use materials and change kind of growing conditions, but where you've got those growing conditions, like this is damp, put damp stuff in. I was thinking about today, what the heck's it called? Bog myrtle, Myrica Gale. Really nice plant. I actually really like it. It's a 1.5 meters tall, evergreen, and it has kind of smallish, kind of matte leaves, ovalish, longish leaves, a bit, and it smells a bit like a bay tree. Smaller leaves than a bay, about half the size. And you can use them in cooking as well. They're kind of really aromatic, and bog myrtles, not surprisingly, grow well in bogs. So what I will say is, in all of this, what the kind of choices that I'm going to do is going to be dictated by the conditions. Let me just, where did I put that? Oh, I maybe have to do it here. Oh god, I've got so much crap on my desktop. Here we go. Yeah, so this is, oh god, don't want that, go away. This is the site. This is a fixed point photography, so I've got photographs over the past few months, and this is a site showing the I bought some forest garden plants down. And the first thing that I'm going to do is, each of these is going to be different. They're going to be kind of trees, taller trees along the back, like trees, you know, tree shrubs 4 or 5 meters tall, up around here, kind of tall. And then the ground cover, and this is going to be shadier because that's looking south. And then the kind of more free draining, kind of herby Mediterranean herbs at the front of the bank, so that's going to be more herb stuff. And then this is all very wet around here and around here and around here on the base. So we've got to be kind of careful about the choices that I'm putting in. So first of all, what are the conditions where you're planting? And then secondly, what do you want to think about, the shapes, and also where things are going to be and how they're going to fit in with each other. I'm kind of waiting for Phil to finish this canvas shelter here. So he's going to put stakes in down the side and tie them off in small pegs down this side, and then we'll be able to tie it off with a canvas like a tent, and then be able to pull it backwards and forwards across a ridge pole, and then you'll be able to put it in place and then take it back and tie it up at the end. So the idea is it's a relatively quick way of putting up a canvas shelter, but I kind of I'm going to wait and see what happens with the plants around there, but I'm going to think about them and wait for him to do that before putting them in, if that makes sense. I will plant up the other areas, but this areas on either side I've got to be a little bit careful about, because you want to get the plants to fit in with what's there. So I know that there'll be bigger trees at the back and smaller shrubs along this bank, and then like Mediterranean herbs at the front. But yeah, it's all kind of like what's going to happen with that, not exactly sure. So the thing that I would say is get an idea about the shapes according to what's going to be in that space, and then look at the plants. I've got a couple of really good spreadsheets, even if I do say so myself. Grow.cc/forest garden spreadsheet. made this with a couple of people a few years ago now. It's all the books in Martin Crawford's Creating a Forest Garden. It's all the plants in that book, and it just lists them. And what's really nice about it is that you can sort them. So, oh yeah, it's got poor soil, drought, what moisture. So the moisture is wet. So that's a wet to moist to wet site. So if I go sort range, nope, select them all. It's been a while since I've done this. Advanced range sorting options, and I want K. Oh, not moisture. So I go by moisture. And yeah, just do that for now. And yeah, blah blah blah, whatever. Oh, DMW. So like here, you go, okay, this is trees and shrubs. So just it's like there's all sorts of stuff going on. Lesser stitch work, bugle, dry, moist, wet. Fantastic. So I love bugle. Bugle's going in as a ground cover, and I can alter them by their habit as well. I actually haven't done this yet. This is funny. Moist. Oh, come on. I think my computer's starting to have get a little bit upset. LMH, moist, wet. Yes, cuckoo flower, golden saxifrage, watercress, water mint, wood pea. Yay! There's a whole load of stuff, and you can play around with the habit. So I could search by. Let me search by habit and habit and moisture. Add another sort column and habit. There we go. And I want shrub A to Z. That's good. Yeah, like that. So trees at the bottom. Yes, look at that. And now. Moist, wet, dry, good. Dry, moist, wet. Yeah, so there we go. We've got cover, tree, dry, moist, wet, dry, moist, and then wet at the top. Moist. That's good. And it's, but yeah, so hopefully you can see that. It's a spreadsheet where you can sort by different parameters, and then you can find out if I'm after cover. And I can view by cover and then view by moisture. So let's just do that. I'm making it up as I'm going along, but hopefully you get what I mean. Habit. I want cover and then moisture, and I want that to that one. Yeah. So I'll do habit first of all. Habit, climate, cover. So I've got all my covers here. And then I've got the moisture, moist, wet. Yeah, and then moist. So all. Oh, am I going to do it? Come on, don't play me up. All those are cover. Oh, brilliant! All that lot is cover, and yeah. So you get the idea. You can just like look at what will work. Horse mint will work well. Yeah. You've got to be careful with mint. Silverweed likes moist. Yeah, lungwort would be good. Yeah, so dwarf comfrey, yes. And tuberous comfrey, definitely. I think tuberous comfrey. Dwarf comfrey's not a native. Tuberous comfrey probably is a native. It's really interesting, yeah. So you actually get to have quite a lot of fun with this. The other spreadsheet that I wanted to look at. So this is, it'll take a while to figure out the different plants and what's available and how I can, which ones to choose and all the rest of it. The other spreadsheet is a garden wild spreadsheet. So that's a garden-wild.spreadsheet. And this one is native plants only. There's a little bit of crossover between them, but it's the same kind of thing. And I want to look at cover, growth, perennial. Oh, I haven't got habit in there. Maybe I should put habit in. Oh, this is Yeah, these are just the flowers. Oh, these just, yeah, that's right. This is just forbs. So there's going to be different tabs for shrubs and trees. I haven't really kind of same kind of thing. I just haven't. I was supposed to get a grant. I was trying to get a grant to develop these, this spreadsheet and have an associated image gallery as well, to encourage people to use native plants in ornamental gardens. But that didn't happen, so it's been a bit left by the wayside. But it's still useful. So I shall go through that. And then the other one that I've got, which is of interest, is the Hope Garden plants native ground cover. There we go, lovely. So I've done another spreadsheet, which is native ground cover plants. I covered this last week a bit, I think, as well. And similar thing. I just really, I really want to kind of possibly amalgamate these and get them into a habit. I'll have a think about it. But this is a whole list of plants, and I want to then find out which of these will work in damp and wet conditions, and then plant accordingly for ground cover and also for kind of herbaceous perennials. What I've also done is got a massive list of the stuff that I've already ordered, and that's all these plants here. Oops. These ones all around here, so there's lots of different fruit shrubs and everything, and a whole range of loveliness. And then I'm going to kind of figure out what conditions they like, and then can I? No, I'm not going to unfreeze all. Hopefully just turn them all on. Plant label. Cool, and then I've got a whole load of these already. These are the ones that I've got, and then transplant them over. So there's quite, there's a few hours of work left to do that, and it really is, as it's a kind of case of hemp agrimony, drag hemp agrimony across, put it in. Where does hemp agrimony grow? How big will it get? Really, really big. Lovely, lovely plant though. Absolutely adore it. That's the work that I've got cut out to do. And then I can figure out, what kind of coverage I want for ground cover plants in there as well. And the other thing that I would say, last thing that I'm going to kind of finish up on, is I will be using white mustard. Oh, where the hell did I get it from? Which you can buy as a green manure, and I bought it from Cotswold Seeds. That was it. I bought a big old bag of it because I was working on acres of land, and I actually ought to message my friend about it. I think he's got it in his shed. I haven't seen him for a while, so I need to give him a shout and see where it is. Synapsis alba, that's the one. I bought a big old sack of it, and if you can get it, you can get it quite cheaply. And then that's an annual, mostly. It's an annual, and then that provides a ground cover for the whilst your perennials get established. Not very exciting. Oh yeah, here we go, some pictures. So I might do that. And then the other thing that I really want to get is Hessian rolls to cover the bank, because the bank's made up of lots of old bits of turf, and there's loads of stuff in there. I've covered it in a plastic, I'm afraid, mulch, and that'll kill it off. But what I do want to do is to get a whole load of Hessian cloth, and then this, whatever kind of size it is, they get the cheap stuff, but is to do that and then peg that out with metal pegs, and that'll suppress the grass enough to allow other stuff to get established, and then give it a nice coating. So cut little holes, put little plug plants in for the ground cover, and whatever other plants are going in, and then put a load of mustard seed on top as well. So the mustard seed combined with the ground cover will hopefully be, and then with the Hessian, will hopefully be enough to suppress that grass for long enough for everything else to get established. There will be weeding involved. There always will be, and it'll take a couple of years, 2-3 years, before you're not weeding out grass. But that's just like a regular thing. And the nice thing is, because it's just up the road as well, I'm up there most days anyway, taking photos and moving things around at my lunch break. So that's another little job to do. Right then, yeah, fantastic. I think that's me done for. Thank you for watching, if indeed you were watching, which wish if you're watching this then you are. And yeah, next stage, canvas shelter, and bird baths and ponds and gates and fences, all sorts of stuff going on. So it's going to be pretty. It is a lovely